Hey everyone, Dan with HRT, and today we are talking about a battle of the MP5s. All right, so previously we had talked about some different PCC options. We talked about some of the pistol chassis and things like that for the 320s. And today we're going to talk specifically about the MP5 platform and some of its different variables and different options. So of course, in order to get this appropriately started, we have to do the all-important, now we can get started. So first I'm going to talk about the MP5K version, K being a German. It's off of Kurz, just meaning short. So if you see that, think about your Sandman Ks and things like that. Those are all just using the German abbreviation for short. This is a much smaller setup than one of your 8-inch barreled versions, as you can see here, especially with the stock all the way collapsed. This one shot really well for us. The safety selector is one of the extra large blade style here, so it was able to activate easier than some of the other options we had here on the table. But I did find this difficult to reload compared to the others, trying to work around a much smaller little charging section, and then you just have no space here as you're holding the gun to really hang on to it. Thankfully, they put this little wedge here so you don't just karate chop right in front of the barrel there. This one was fun to shoot. It does have a binary trigger setup in it, so I made it a little bit more enjoyable as far as just pure round count going out. But it does leave a lot to be desired as far as getting lights on it, optics, things like that. You can still put one of those clamp-on rail systems there, but getting some type of light or larger optic than maybe a micro dots is gonna be very difficult on these. But it did shoot well. Only other complaint I had on this one was this rear turret here is just so hard to actually utilize because you have a short sight radius, it's very low, and then the brace setup here is just not very conducive to really getting onto your sights. It's of course doable, but it's gonna take a little bit more practice than something maybe like one of the full-size variants or something with an optic on it. So just keep that in mind. Although it does make a nice little compact package to throw into a bag, car, carry with you on a sling or something like that if you don't wanna have a full-size rifle or be tied to some type of pistol system. So that's the MP5K. All right, so now let's talk about the MP5 SD. So this is a custom build by Kilo Guns. They did a whole bunch of work on here to get the suppressor on here. So it's an integral suppressor. It's one piece. It's not a screw-on or thread-on piece. They put the little nice rubber textured grip here. It basically feels like it's some type of pipe hose type thing, but it does work really well. It actually dissipated the heat way better than I was expecting. Gives you a nice grip on the gun. And of course, obligated. The cool part about the SD series is you can shoot your regular 9mm through here and not have to worry about it being a subsonic load or a supersonic load, as the suppressor slows the round down enough that it leaves the barrel pretty much subsonic, even if you're using your regular ammunition. And that was the intent behind this design. This one shot really well. It's a little bit easier to find my sights and get more accurate shots since you have a actual drum here with a circle to look through, as opposed to just the random squares on the K. And then the stock gave me a little bit better cheek weld when trying to find those sights as well. This shot really well. I'm kind of when it comes to MP5s, I'm personally drawn to the older fixed stock, the Surefire handguard stuff. So this was, as far as aesthetics go, probably my favorite. Does have the nice lever here, a little bit easier to get to, so keep that in mind if you're looking at the MP5 stuff. The selector is going to be a big difference between enjoyable or hating your life. Downsides of this one, kind of similar to the K, just because we're going to kind of a retro look. It is a little bit harder to get your lights mounted up on here. You're going to have to work around this entire thick, chunky suppressor that's on here. You do have the ability to put your optics on it, as it has this little ridge cut out. But this is just a cool piece of history. Kilo Guns did a great job with it. It shoots very well, a very pleasant shooter. Don't need ear protection with this one. It's just hangs out. And we've got some different video clips showing those rounds getting shot too, so you can check that out and see what you think maybe as far as which one you might prefer as far as suppressor usage goes. So definitely one of my favorite I got to play with. All right, now we have a regular sized MP5. So this is the 8-inch version. This has a Midwest Industries handguard and the B&T rail up top for mounting your optics to it. And as you can see, that modernizes this package quite a bit compared to some of the other ones we've looked at. A whole lot easier to see what you're hitting and how you're doing it with a red dot mounted up top, and then to actually be able to see your target in low light conditions or maybe in the darkness somewhere, having your, this is AWLS, the 18350 size unit up front here. So this is a little bit slicker than some of the other models as far as being able to use it, although unfortunately this safety is not as easy to get to as some of the other models. So this kind of gave me some trouble trying to get the safety on and off between drills. It's a little bit stiffer and it is not as easy to get into position, especially getting it back up in a safe. So that was kind of a bummer, but that's an easy fix if you know what you're looking for. And of course we have to, yep. So this is set up with a brace, so I can nicely fold this away, and realistically, that doesn't change much from the size of the K to the full size when you have that folding stock set up here, or a brace in this case. Although I get the extra couple of inches of barrel length, which gives me a little bit extra velocity, more consistency. So personally, I would go with something more like this as opposed to the K. That's a personal preference, though. You may find something completely different. Now, when we did all of our testing, we went to the range, shot a bunch of different drills with each gun that we see here, and then we also shot them with supersonic and subsonic ammo to kind of get a difference in sound between shooting those different models. We did not shoot subsonic ammunition in the SD because it slows the round already. We didn't want to end up with a round halfway inside of the barrel. I don't know if that's what happened, but we just wanted to prevent having that happen to us on the range. So we ran through a couple different types of drills, reloads, close stuff, far stuff, rapid stuff, various different drills. And this one I think ended up being my favorite performer as far as all that goes. We had a T2 mount on it for the video when we were on the range, and that was just perfect. Totally rounded this out really nice. Just a super easy gun to shoot, practically no recoil. And then as soon as you threw the suppressor on it, they became super quiet and then even more tame than they were before. Of course, being 9mm and roller delayed, they shouldn't really have a ton of recoil anyway. So that's not really a big concern as far as the suppressor, but it does make it nice that it's now suddenly so quiet. This one actually was probably the quietest, running the subsonic ones with the full-size cam that we have here. This goes onto the tri-lug adapter. And the cool part about that was I could actually hear the action components moving, and it was less the shot sound and more of literally just bolt traveling back and forth in the gun that I was coming across listening to it. All right, so that easily we have attached our suppressor. And as you can see, now it is definitely a little bit longer. We're now looking at like maybe Mark 18 length and things like that. What you've gained is it's a whole lot quieter than a Mark 18 or 11.5 suppressed type gun. And it's still very lightweight. I'd say this is probably 8-ish pounds. So still running lighter than some of your other rifles and such. So very cool setup. We definitely enjoyed playing with these on the range. So let's talk a little bit about some downsides you might have on the MP5 platform. And really, it's going to be that you have a gun that's from the 70s and 80s, and you're trying to use it in the modern era. You can absolutely do that. There's nothing against that. I personally love running some old platforms for no good reason. But the problem here is it's hard to modernize some of those features. We've modernized here to have a nice handguard that has M-lock attachments, and I can mix and match things. And we've modernized here to have a rail for me to put optics on it. So we've improved those. We've improved the stocks in the last 20 years. The stock options have dramatically changed. But what really hasn't changed is that. There's nothing wrong with this magazine, and there's nothing wrong with the feeding on this gun. The issue is I have a very small slot to get this magazine into. And in some of the drills that we were running, especially in a hurry, trying to get this thing reloaded, especially not being familiar with it, really kicked my butt. So if you are going to run something like this, make sure you practice some of those drills. You also don't have any bolt hold open, so you'll have to manually come over here and lock this open. It won't do it off the magazine. And then some of them do have buttons here for you to remove the magazine, but as you can see, I might as well just use the paddle. It's a whole lot easier than reaching this button. Unless you have like Rasputin hands or something, you can just punch that while you're holding the gun. So if you're a 3D printer or a machinist, something like that, and you've got some ideas, I think you can make a killing if you made an MP5 magwell that actually functioned. But really that's the biggest complaint I have on just this platform in general. They're very modular. They allow you to do a lot of different things with them. This one's probably my favorite, although if it had the fixed stock of the SD and one of those OG Surefire mounts on the bottom, then I'd probably be really excited about it. But in either case, they're awesome setups. Check them out. There's a bunch of different companies now that are either importing them or making their own, from HK official all the way to some of your Century and even the Mac series as well. So just check around, see what you can find, outfit them in some pretty cool different manners, and just enjoy them. They're a lot of fun to play with. All right, so thanks for checking out our video on the Battle of the MP5s. We hope you've enjoyed it. Hop down in the comments below and maybe talk about some things that you would put on your MP5 if you had one. And check us out at hrttacticalgear.com or follow us on our different social media platforms at Facebook and Instagram. And check back here for more videos soon.